Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So we'll jump straight in here with this. So the Book 2 Earth soundtrack on vinyl is now available for pre-order. So same place as last time out, so Republic Records. So they have it finally up for pre-order here. You can see $37.99. It's going to be shipping on July 25th, which is the same release date as the digital version of the soundtrack, where it'll be going up on all the platforms. So we're not too far away at all from this. And as you can see from the picture, as before, it's going to be two vinyls. They're going to be green, of course, like the water ones were blue. Very, very cool. We've seen the cover before already. We do have the full track listing, as you can see here. So Azula, Aang and Roku, Secret Tunnel, The Cave of Two Lovers, Visions in the Swamp, The Mystical Swamp, Toph, Ursa, Heroism and Rejection, The White Lotus, Aang and the Sandbenders, Aang and Hope, Aang Takes Down the Drill, Ba Sing Se, Long Feng and the Dai Li, Leaves from the Vine, The Tale of Momo, Appa's Lost Days, Zuko's Transformation, Unlocking the Chakras, Zuko and Katara, The Fall, and Avatar The Last Airbender end credits. So yeah, and then for this place, US customers only. I currently have not seen it available for sale anywhere else. I haven't looked super closely. If I remember correctly, for the Book 1 Water one, it was quite difficult to find from like a lot of places. Not many places had it. I know Barnes & Noble eventually did have it, so I'd maybe recommend people check there. But again, they're also kind of mostly US only. We'll see how it goes. Interestingly, there is, if you search for Avatar, you know, they do have the Book 1 Water one on CD. There's no sign of the Book 2 Earth one on CD yet. So I'm assuming what they're doing is just that the CD release is just always going to happen a little bit later down the line if you do want it on CD kind of format. But that is that. I don't think it's been marketed super well. Just the way they reveal the information through the podcast, I'm not sure it filtered through the fandom all that much, and I haven't seen too much focus being given to the fact that this is available for pre-order now. So mark has been missed a little bit, but I'm guessing on the day of release of the digital stuff, they'll let people know that it's actually out, and hopefully Book 3 isn't too far away also. Moving on from that though, this is a minor piece of information. So we of course had the Amigurumi book kind of announced. We now have what is a placeholder cover. This is definitely not the final cover, because there's no way they're going to do a kind of Amigurumi kind of crochet kind of book like this without any of that actually appearing on the cover. I'm assuming it's probably going to be something like this, where like they replace the kind of stock images of the characters probably with their kind of crochet kind of Amigurumi versions or something like that. Otherwise, like I'm assuming the other design though of it is probably exactly how they're going to do it, with the kind of elements in the corners, the border and stuff like that, the placement of some of the logos. They just need Amigurumi pictures, of course. So worth kind of noting there. Otherwise, there's not too much other stuff to talk about with this until we get more precise details. This is this is a next year book. One of the bigger pieces of news we have is this. Awakening of Roku. A lot of people have been asking for updates on this one. There is one, but it's not a great update. We don't really know what's happening here, but as you can see here, publication date has changed from October 14th, I think it was, to December 30th. Now, obviously, this is a weird situation where, of course, its placement within the year was already kind of replaced by City of Echoes, which is out, of course, in a few weeks. So it was never going to be the July release, because that's where they've put the Avatar Legends book. So they moved it to October. Now, with an October release, we were kind of wondering, like, well, why don't we have the cover yet? Why is there still no proper description of the book? Like, what's going on here? Of course, San Diego Comic-Con is coming up. A publishing panel is what we expect, though it has yet to be like announced, of course. And we would expect probably the details of this to come up soon. I don't think we were expecting a pushback, but the discussion around this is obviously going to be, which of the two things is it, basically? December 30th oftentimes can be a placeholder date because it's like one of the last dates of the year. In this case, it is a valid release date for the book because it is a Tuesday. So the book is always going to release on a Tuesday, and December 30th is a Tuesday. So that makes sense. So I don't think you can just automatically be like, oh, that looks like a placeholder date, so it is a placeholder date. It is still a date within this year. We do sort of have to note the marketing information from City of Echoes. I'm wondering, do they actually have it here? Key selling points. No, it probably is on the City of Echoes one. Just to get up the idea that they are planning in the future right now to do 2 books a year. That is the way that they're going about it here. Yeah. With the introduction of the Avatar Legends series, we plan to publish 2 Avatar titles per year. So if Awakening of Roku drops out of the year, they've immediately sort of like failed this kind of point. So I'm wondering what's happening with this. That's obviously the more negative viewpoint, is that it might be just a placeholder date and the book currently just doesn't have a date. If this just is the release date of the book, they've chosen the last point in the year, I can see them why they've maybe done this for a reason. Just to separate the 2 books a little bit. You have 2 novel releases for Avatar in the year. You don't want them to be rapid fire back to back, like sort of July, October sort of is. There's a bit of a delay, but not a huge amount of a delay. So I like the idea of kind of having 1 book in the summer, 1 book in the winter. Like right during the kind of summer holidays, and then right during kind of like the Christmas holidays, roughly separated by like 5 to 6 months. I think that's a lot better than just like a couple of months between the releases, just because there oftentimes can be points in the year where, like Dark Horse this year, releasing the 2 books they had like weeks apart meant that like the entire rest of the year is not really going to have anything, whereas at least with the novels they can kind of separate it out a little bit more. And that's maybe the more kind of positive look on this, is that they are probably trying to figure out if they are going to have 2 releases every year, Chronicles of the Avatar and Avatar Legends, what should the placement be each year? Assuming that it's not going to be a situation where the books just come out when they come out. If they can get set release dates, then yeah, you want to keep your late July release date just in or around Comic-Con, because that's always when the books have come out. But then the other one, they're trying to, I guess, figure out when that should be. And I actually like in or around Christmas into the new year as the kind of point when it happens. I actually think if it was to maybe be pushed into like January, I wouldn't mind that in particular, because then that makes it act like 6 months between books, which I think is perfectly fine for 2 books in a year. Gives you time to cover it, and time to build up to the next one without it being like a rush like it might be July, October. So I'm not sure what to read into this. Thankfully, of course, we have Comic-Con coming up, so we'll probably get some sort of an update on this regardless soon. Even with the delay into December, we still would expect the cover at some point soon. We've never really had many problems with release dates on the books or the novels, so this is a little bit of a unique situation because it is our first time with 2 novels. So I'm not inclined to immediately interpret this in the worst possible way just yet. So just to keep that in mind. On the subject of City of Echoes, I will say that my coverage for that book is going to be starting soon. I do have my hands on the book now at this point, so I'm about halfway through. So I should be able to get out my non-spoiler review for City of Echoes probably tomorrow. And then I'm going to be figuring out how exactly I'm going to approach doing a lot of the other stuff kind of ahead of time. Of course, most of it is going to be after the release date of the book, but I will be putting out a certain amount of kind of discussion videos on it beforehand, like usual. But I'll talk about that more in kind of upcoming stuff. Next, last piece of information here is this. So First 4 Figures are also now doing a Katara statue. So they've already done, of course, Aang and Toph. Zuko was a relatively recent announcement, and now they are doing Katara. So they have a video up here kind of previewing it sort of in shadow. So you can see here it is Book 1 Katara standing on ice. Pretty nice. Nice pose, of course, kind of more probably realistically from her fight with Paku. They do show some kind of full color shots there, kind of highlighting that it's a really nice sculpt. I think they've got it like pretty spot on. It's probably the best Book 1 Katara that we have seen. It looks very good in my mind. Pre-orders are going to open up on the 17th of July, and the only other stuff is that they focused in on the base, which they didn't really show off in the previous video. So you can see this is, I guess, the basic version of the figure. So you can see ice, bit of water, and then their standard kind of designed base there. I think it's really, really nice. So obviously, the way they do these is that there are typically multiple versions of these figures. This is probably the basic version. Then they have like a similar looking one to this that has like electronics and lights in it. And then there's a super fancy version where the price like doubles or triples, where I'm guessing there'll be crazy extra effect parts. The base will be bigger and stuff like that. Based on previous kind of ones, I'm guessing the standard Katara here is probably going to be like somewhere in the region of like $100, give or take. But yeah, the super fancy version, which we don't have reveals on yet, is probably going to be like $300. Just to keep it in mind. The only thing that I think holds me, and I think a lot of people back on this, is just that first four figures are coming to the statue market a little late, like quite a bit late. So many other companies have done statues, including Katara statues before, and it just kind of feels like we're waiting for other characters in a lot of cases. And because they are slightly on the more expensive side of things, that's always, I think, what holds people back from first four figures. So but they will be someone to look for, I suppose, into the future, in that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they are potentially among the first maybe places to get out figures, statues related to the movie, the Avatar Studios movie, of course, but we do have to wait and see on that. But yeah, otherwise, that's the news. The big thing we are waiting for is just San Diego Comic-Con schedule, which I'm guessing is either going to be at some point this week or next week. Kind of has to be. But they do tend to do it, I suppose, in around 2 weeks beforehand. So we won't be too long away from finding out what we are actually getting at Comic-Con. But otherwise, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all this stuff. So Book 2 soundtrack, vinyl, pre-order now available. There's the Amigurumi cover, of course, placeholder cover. Awakening of Roku delayed. What do you make of this? Is it a placeholder, or are they just separating the release dates of the books a little bit more? Let me know what you think. And yeah, Katara first four figures, let me know. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.